Okay, guys, we'll be talking in this lecture about the math class and the methods of this math class. So, a math class is basically a set of methods that helps performing regular or normal operations or some mathematical task. So, there are many of them. We're going to focus on the most important ones. So, as you can see in this review, so you have the math method. In the first column, you have the description, what this method does, and then example. So, for example, math.max, as you can see, it accepts two arguments. They could be like integers or doubles, and returns the highest of the two, as you can see in this example. Math.min does the same thing, but it returns the smallest, the lowest of the two values. Math.ceil that rounds it up, like whatever argument you have. So any decimal number is between two integers. So the highest value is called ceil, and the lowest is called floor. We're going to have example in a minute. And then we have pow, that's pow. Pow stands for power. So basically it returns the exponent, a to the power of b. sqrt, it returns the square root of a number. Round, it returns the number rounded to the nearest integer. And then ABS stands for absolute value. It returns the absolute value. So if it's negative, it returns the positive. If it's already positive, so it stays the same. And then we have math.random. It returns a random number within a certain range. We'll talk about this in detail in the next lecture. And then finally, we have math.pi. Math.pi is not a method, it's a number. It returns the pi number. So let's have some examples here. So let's say I want to print the highest of two values. So I'm going to use math.max. Let's say 4,9. So the highest of these two is 9. So when you run the program, it should return 9. Okay, the same thing if I use min. So if I have two values, say 12 and 5. So the lowest of these two is 12. So 12 will be printed. Okay. Also, we can use power. So math.pow 2,5. So we say 2,5. That means 2 to the power of 5. So it should be 32. And then this method returns double. That means whatever answer you have, it has to be doubled, like as you can see, 32.0. Then we have also the floor. It accepts one argument. So let's say we have 5.39. So 5.39 is between 5 and 6. So the floor is 5 and ceil is 6. So the closest integer that is less than this number is called the floor. And the closest integer that is higher or greater than this number is called ceil. So here we're going to return 5. And then also this method returns double, so you get 5.0. Okay, and then for ceil, math, that ceil is, let's say, use the same number, 5.39. So the highest number is 6.0. So any decimal number between two integers. So the lowest integer is called the floor and the highest is called ceil. So let's run this program. So we're going to have 6.0. And you need to be very careful when dealing with negative numbers. So for example, floor of negative, let's say 4.19. So remember the lowest number. So negative 4.19 is between negative 5 and negative 4. So negative 5 is the floor. Negative 5 is the floor. Negative 5.0, of course. And then ceil. So negative, let's use the same number. So we're going to have negative 4.0 because that's the highest value. So you need to be very careful about this. Okay, and then also we can use the absolute value, math.abs. So any number negative, say 6.30. So it returns the positive of this number. Of course, it's already positive, then it stays positive. Now, there is a question here. What about if I want to return the maximum or minimum of more than two numbers? So we can use more than one. So for example, let's say we have three variables. X is 9, Y is 4, and then Z is 14. How can I return the highest of these three? So let's say I have variable. I'm going to call it high, and then I can use math.max. Then I'm going to use math.max inside this method. It's like a nested method. Math.max compared to the first two, or any two for this three. So let's say X and Y, and then whatever you got from this method compared with the third one. So now if I print high, I should get the highest of the three, which is in this case 14. I can do the same thing also for numbers. So if I have four numbers, use X. I can math.max, compare the first two. So let's say I have four numbers. So let's say A is 6. So I can compare the first two, max, max. So I can use the first two and then compare the other two, max. So Z and A. So now if I print max, should give me or returns the highest of the four numbers. Okay. Now let's see what else we did not cover. So we talked about the square root also. So we talked about max, min, ceil, floor, pow, square roots, and round. So for round, it's just like when you round a number in math, you get the same thing. So let's say math, that round, and then I have, let's say, 17.34. So since so we're gonna round it, it's gonna be rounded down. Why? Because it's less than 5 decimal. So 17. Okay. Now if you have 7, then it will be rounded up to 18. So that's round. Finally, the square roots. And that sqrt, let's say 81. So the square root of 81 is 9, but since this method returns double, you're going to find 9.0. So you're going to see 9.0. Okay. So in the next lecture, we'll be talking about another method which is very, very common or very frequently used, which is the math.random. So we'll devote the next lecture to math.random. So thank you for watching and see you in the next lecture.